This is the CBC Morning Report for today, Friday, August 11th. I'm Tisha Hines. Good morning. The time to get additional resources in the region to manage climate change has never been more urgent than now. Chairman of the CARICOM, Dominica's President Roosevelt Skerrit, who was in Barbados for a high-level meeting with the COP28 UAE President-designate, says the outcomes of the COP are critical.
We need to cut global emissions by 45% by 2030 and reach net zero by 2050. The political leadership required, however, to deliver at the scale and speed necessary is lagging. Despite the geopolitical challenges being experienced across the globe, we cannot let up on pursuing ambitious climate actions. At the COP28, as a COP28 President-designate, we in the Caribbean will count on your leadership to ensure that COP28 is a COP of action. COP28 must deliver actions that are commensurate with ensuring that we keep 1.5 alive. Our lives and that of our children and the children depend on it.
St. Lucia's Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre, who is CARICOM's minister responsible for sustainable development, says CARICOM agrees that transformation has to come at the conference of the parties.
CARICOM supports your call for transformational COP28 of action. It will be transformational, Mr. President, as long as its outcomes are ambitious. For CARICOM, it goes without saying that 1.5 degrees centigrade defines ambition, and in that regard, we expect the following. The outcomes of the global stocktake must provide the political will for a climate action plan guided by the best available science to concentrate all efforts to keep global warming below 1.5 degrees, to foster climate resilience and to protect our countries that are facing increasing losses and damages. Finance will be a critical component of COP28 outcomes, including the GST. CARICOM expects in this regard that the loss and damage fund will be operationalized, capitalized, and its modalities will be fit for purpose to ensure ease of access for our small island and low-lying coastal states.
Barbados Prime Minister Mia Motley spoke to the various funds and how they can help the regions most vulnerable.
That catalytic fund is going to require it being blended. It may be used for first loss guarantees and other innovative instruments. And then the partial foreign exchange guarantee that Professor Passad has been working on with other players globally comes in also to reduce the cost of debt for those countries in the global south. With respect to loss and damage, we can take no more debt. And loss and damage, therefore, really has to be about grant funds. And the question is, who funds it? We accept, obviously, that those countries, the 20% of the world states that cause 80% of the stock of greenhouse gases, should be there. But we equally accept that the flow of gases continues. And therefore, who are the ones that are contributing to the flow and not just the stock? We believe it obviously to be the oil and gas companies, but they don't operate in a vacuum. They can't operate without access to finance, they can't operate without transport, they can't operate without insurance. And therefore, what I call the FIT companies, the finance, the insurance, and the transport companies need to be brought to the table equally with the oil and gas companies if we are to have a realistic chance of a credible loss and damage fund.
The president-designate of COP28 says all forms of finance must be more available, affordable, and accessible.
MDBs must be adequately capitalized and must provide much more concessional finance to help lower risk and bring more private capital to the table. Other innovative tools to bring down the cost of finance should be considered, explored, and advanced, such as foreign exchange risk guarantees as well as insurance. And the recipients of climate finance need to be better protected from crushing debt burden through the widespread application of climate resilient debt clauses. Throughout the run-up to COP28, I will continue to work with stakeholders across the financial community to explore every possible instrument that can help make climate finance more inclusive, more available, more accessible, and more affordable. In fact, I want to make it more catalytic and more scaled.
Coming up on the CBC Morning Report, Ecuador reels after a presidential candidate is assassinated just over a week ahead of elections. That's next.
For the past 19 years, QFM has been sharing with you, learning from you, and together building a community for all mature audiences. That's why we say Q is good for you. To our Q family, we say thank you for staying connected to Q 100.7 FM. QFM is a station of the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation. CBC, celebrating 60, connecting Barbadian communities.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job.
As Ecuador reels from the assassination of a high-profile presidential candidate, experts say the event underscores growing violence driven by powerful criminal groups in the South American nation. Fernando Villavicencio was killed at a political rally in the capital on Wednesday, sending shockwaves through Ecuador, which is set to hold a presidential election on August 20th.
Presidential candidate Fernando Villavicencio was gunned down in Quito after a political rally just 10 days before general elections.
As soon as he got out, it took him around 30 seconds to get to the door, and shooting started. I think it was more than 30 shots. We tried to find where Fernando was, and at that point we realized he had been taken to the hospital. He was shot several times, and in the head.
Villavicencio was surrounded by his bodyguards and political allies. Authorities say at least 9 people were injured. The president has announced 3 days of national mourning and declared a state of exception.
From this moment, the armed forces have been mobilized countrywide to ensure the safety of citizens, peace, and the free and democratic elections of August 20.
Police detained one of the suspects in the attack. He died apparently as a result of his injuries. The Attorney General says another 6 people have been arrested. A drug trafficking gang known as Los Lobos has claimed responsibility. Villavicencio's party members say he had received death threats.
He received death threats many times, not just once. He said, "I'm not afraid, I'm not afraid." Members of the movement told him he needed to wear a flak jacket, but he said nothing will happen.
The 59-year-old led the Build Ecuador movement. A former journalist, he exposed political corruption at the highest level, including former President Rafael Correa, who was convicted and is in hiding. Opinion polls suggested Villavicencio would have made it to the runoff election.
Everything seems to indicate it was a plot. It appears to have been planned, and today we are paying the consequences. Where is the security in this country if a man who has fought for more than 20 years, who was the best candidate to win? Is this the way elections are won in Ecuador?
Ecuador is experiencing some of its worst violence in recent history, caused by organized crime and drug trafficking. it spilled over into the electoral process. 3 weeks ago, a congressional and a mayoral candidate were also killed while campaigning. Despite the insecurity, the National Electoral Council says the vote will go ahead as planned on August the 20th.
West African heads of state have said all options, including the use of force, remained on the table to restore constitutional order in Niger after the July 26 coup. The remarks came as the 15-member Economic Community of West Africa states met in Nigeria on Thursday for an emergency summit to discuss responses to last month's military takeover in Niger after the coup leaders defied their earlier threat to use force to restore democracy.
The ECOWAS meetings ended in Abuja, where African leaders have condemned the detention of Niger's President Mohamed Bazoum. They've also said travel to Niger is going to be restricted, and anyone who prevents a return to civilian government will have their assets frozen.
Direct the Committee of the Chief of Defense Staff to activate the ECOWAS standby force with all its elements immediately. Order the deployment of the ECOWAS standby force to restore constitutional order in the Republic of Niger. Underscore its continued commitment to the restoration of constitutional order through peaceful means.
Well, let's get more from Ahmed Idris, who's live in the Nigerian capital, Abuja, where ECOWAS summit took place. Let's talk about the standby force first of all. What do we know about it, and what action is it expected to take?
Actually, it's a force comprising of military, police, as well as civilian members. It was constituted by the Economic Community of West African states to intervene politically and militarily when the need arises. The most active situation was in 2017 when they sent the force to the Gambia. That was when Yahya Jammeh, former President Yahya Jammeh, refused to step down after he lost the election to President Adama Barrow, then president-elect at the time. It also deployed to the Guinea-Bissau to help restore order following an attempted coup there. Now, this force, we understand that the meeting of the chiefs of defense staff of the region that took place last week was finalizing the standby force, which is expected to draw between 3,000 to 6,000 members, depending on the crisis they are going to intervene in. But with Niger now, probably they may be looking towards inching that number up. We understand that Burkina Faso and Mali said any attack on Niger is considered as an act of war on all of them. So with that in mind, the Economic Community of West African states must have considered increasing that number to deal with the situation at hand.
It's time now for us to preview what's coming up on Morning Barbados. We're going to be giving you some tips on transitioning from primary to secondary schools. Plus, the Power of One is back today as we highlight some of the employees of C.O. Williams Construction, the company that moves the earth to please. And we are also going to be telling you all about World Steel Pan Day. Plus, we have some great steel panists who will be in to share with us. And it's a Fresh Friday, which means we have a discussion with artist Ayana John. She's going to bring along Joe Cloudy, and they'll tell us all about the music video industry. That's all coming up at 6:30. But next, we have more news, sports, and weather. So stay with us.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Affair segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.vb. And together we will travel the world.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more. You get it all when you get MCTV, because MCTV gives you more.
Some ask, what myth?
The Congress of Trade Unions and Staff Associations of Barbados, or C2SAB, supports the integrity legislation as it relates to parliamentarians and political appointees and boards of state-owned enterprises, but not with family members or senior civil servants being included. Dennis De Pisa, the General Secretary, says this was an area the Congress is not in agreement with.
It is, however, difficult to reconcile how the immediate family members of senior public officers are to be held under the scrutiny of the law, whereupon there is no justification for such. It is accepted that senior public officers are to be held to the highest ethical standards of conduct and remain subject to scrutiny, and to be penalized under the law for any proven act of corruption. Mindful of the fact that senior public officers are required to follow directives given by their principals in executing decisions of the Cabinet and the instructions of the appointed minister at the political head of their ministry, it is absolutely important that the government undertakes to pay more attention to enhancing systems of checks and balances.
The CITUSAB head believes the legislation should look at issues of favoritism and nepotism if it wants to clean up infelicities in the system.
Ever conscious of the fact that these are factors that can contribute to acts of corruption in various forms. As it stands in the public service, permanent secretaries, heads of department, remain accountable to the head of the public service and to the scrutiny of the Auditor General. CITUSAB therefore sees no need for the imposition of any additional measures on permanent secretaries, heads of department, and officers of related grades. It is necessary for government to ensure that the workers of the Public Accounts Committee takes necessary legal action or invoke disciplinary procedures where there is evidence or reason to believe that an act of corruption or inappropriate behavior has taken place.
The Democratic Labour Party is reporting increased interest from young people who wish to join the institution. General Secretary Steve Blackett spoke on the matter at a media briefing to discuss the upcoming annual General Conference, which is slated for August 18th to 20th at its George Street headquarters. He insists the party is far from dead.
And there are several green sprouts that we have seen over the last number of months. And it is evident from the number of people that we have been attracting to the membership of the party. It's certainly far from dying. It is a party that is flourishing. Like I just mentioned, between 500 and 600 people have joined this party over the last number of months. And that is a clear indication that some attractiveness is presenting itself to the broad cross-section of Barbadians. And they're rallying to the cause and joining the party.
There's a move to ensure the local culinary industry remains in good hands. It involves a 5-week summer cooking camp with participants drawn from schools across Barbados. CBC's Trevor Thorpe has more.
Third-year student at the Cropover School, Kyla Brathwaite, is looking forward to learning new cooking skills and is sure of what she wants after she completes school.
Cooking is a everyday life skill, so when I'm older and I have a house of my own, I can manage myself and I can be able to support myself.
Shamaya Quarles, a past student of the St. Leonard's Boys School, says he too wants to enhance his expertise in the culinary industry.
Different ways to cook, different foods from different cultures around the world.
The budding chef says he shuttles between playing cricket and his cooking studies and is hoping to secure a job either on a cruise liner or with a major resort.
Probably Hilton. I cook there and I found my cooking skills professionally at Gordon Ramsay and things of that nature.
Tutor and chef of the summer cooking camp, Adrian Cumberbatch, outlined some of the elements of the program.
We have velouté, bechamel, hollandaise, tomato, and espagnole. And these are the basic sauces for all the sauces around the world. So once you learn to make hollandaise, you can definitely make mayonnaise. If you learn to make velouté, you can make the Alfredo sauces and stuff like that going forward. So the basic for all the sauces that you ever had comes from these 5 mother sauces. Like for example, everybody knows barbecue sauce. So the mother sauce for barbecue sauce would be tomato. So once you get the basic tomato sauce, then you can add your rest of the ingredients to make your barbecue sauce.
This week, the students also looked at butchery, menu writing, and marketing. Trevor Thorpe for the Business Report.
Time now for sports. Nichols Baking Combermere are the BCA Under-15 cricket champions 2023. Playing against St. Leonard's Boys at Lears, the match ended in a draw. But by virtue of claiming first innings points, the Waterford boys lifted the title. On the final day of the 3-day match yesterday, St. Leonard's resumed their second innings on 46 for 1, trailing by 31 runs before they declared at 178 for 6. CBC's Anne-Marie Burke reports on play before lunch.
Here we go, final day. Combermere in the field, St. Leonard's Boys resuming at the crease on 46 for 1. And Kalani Clark led the charge as if this for his half-century was brought up. And he continued to beat ball, talk about nicely timed and placed. Literally, the very next ball was given the same treatment, dispatched to the ropes with power. On the other end was Macari Hines, and he too caught the boundary fever as he and Clark were now setting up a solid partnership. But that was broken when Haynes was run out for 34 with the score on 137, and then this happened. Clark was bowled by Worrell, leaving him bewildered. He made 88, as St. Leonard's was now 140 for 3. And on the brink of lunch, Combermere scalped another wicket. Javonte Norval is caught by Khalid Ford. The bowler is Worrell. St. Leonard's will go to the break on 140 for 4, a lead of 63 runs.
SLB declared on 178 for 6, and Combermere set 72 to win, were 37 for 2 in 23 overs when play was called off. Scores: St. Leonard's Boys 64 and 178 for 6, Combermere 141 and 37 for 2, match drawn. Let's take a look now at the weather. The barometric pressure stands at 1014.4 millibars. It's currently 28.1 degrees Celsius. Relative humidity stands at 81%, and the winds are blowing out of the east at 21 kilometers per hour. The present temperature is fair with light haze. Sea conditions for Barbados for today: smooth to moderate in open water with swells ranging from 1 to 1.5 meters and increasing. Here's a look at how the tides roll in for today. And the general forecast for Barbados as you move around: mix of sunshine and clouds with a few brief isolated light showers. As we move into the evening period, here's what you can expect: a mix of clear skies and clouds with the occasional brief scattered light to moderate showers. That's today's morning report. Our next newscast is Newsday at 12 noon on TV8, followed by The World at 1 via our radio network of stations on 100.7 FM, 98.1 The One, and 94.7 FM. Morning Barbados is next.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
And a very special good morning to you. It's Friday, August 11th. Already, can you believe it? Time is quickly going by. I'm Tisha Hines, and I'll be here with you until 8 o'clock this morning. Boy, do we have a Friday show planned for you. It's the first Friday post-Cropover. So, people are still recovering from all of the activity that's been going on. And believe it or not, there's still activities happening. So this may be the cool down period, who knows, or it might be a warm up period, but there definitely is a lot happening that we're going to share with you as we continue to share what happened during the Cropover Festival and share more of what's happening across the island. Today we have the power of one bag. We skipped last week for obvious reasons. We brought you a pre-recorded program as we got ready for the finals, the big final show, the evening of last Friday. So we're back today. Of course, that is a segment that highlights workers who embody the general theme of C.O. Williams Construction, working the earth to please. And they're pleased to partner with CBC and indeed Mornin Barbados to be able to highlight the wonderful work that their employees are doing. Today we are going to highlight the work of one Amir Cobham, who is a supervisor at C.O. Williams Construction. We certainly look forward to hearing a lot more about him and his journey with that company, as we often do. It's World Steel Pan Day, and we have Tatiana Clark, who is going to be here with us. She's going to play some music. So I told you that we are letting you down slowly, still giving you some of the sights and sounds of the festival, but in a different way. We're also going to have an opportunity to speak with her as well. There's going to be a free jam session at Pelican, and we're going to tell you more about that as well. Who knows, you might be able to head down. After all, the children are still on holiday, and you might want to do a little unwinding after work today. Fresh Friday, so Ayana John, a recording artist, and she's been doing wonderful things all across the hotel circuit and indeed generally in music. She will be here, as well as Joe Cloudy, to share a little bit more with us about her music video, one called Dreaming, and it was directed by Joe Cloudy. So we look forward to hearing more about that. You know that Ayana does everything from dancehall and reggae to pop. So she is one of those very versatile artists that we definitely look forward to talking to. And of course, we're going to have the Pickety Crop winner here with us. iWeb will be passing through as well, so we could talk about that big win, a fourth title for him in 2023. So like I told you, a good mix of some new stuff that's happening, but we're still kind of easing you down from Cropover. Now, we want to go back to something we started, I believe, just over a week and a half or so ago, Students in Transition from Primary to Secondary School series. And we talked a lot about that with Margaret Grant, who is an author and who is the camp director as well. And she shared with us all of what will be happening with the camp. We asked her to come back and have a further conversation because we truly only touched proverbially a tip of the iceberg when we talked about it. Today she's back with Celine Slocan, a student at the St. Michael's School. Did I get your name right?
Yes, you did.
Good stuff. Good morning and welcome.
Thank you.
All right, good to have both of you with us. All right, steps to smooth transition. That's always important. Now we have the 11 plus results back, so we're waiting for that to kind of sink in for most parents and students because it calls for a level of acclimatizing. First of all, the mind, settling that this is where you're going, because there's still some parents who might be seeking transfers and this and that. What does stuff like that do for students, to your mind? Not necessarily being settled in a school that they either wanted to go to or that they feel like they will be comfortable at or that the parents aren't comfortable with.
Right. I think you can see like a feather in the wind. If you can picture that, a feather in the wind just floating at the whims and fancies of how the wind, the pressure of the wind, the force of the wind. And a child who is in that kind of state of mind can very well be unstable. And we would want that as children got the results. I'm sure so many of them, some were probably excited. This is exactly what they wanted. They got their wish, they got their dream. Some were probably anxious now. Some probably disappointed because they didn't get their choice. And some might be disappointed because they're not going to the same school that their best friend is going to. Okay? But in most cases, children are usually very comfortable with their results. I think sometimes it is the parents who want the reallocation, and that can really cause a little uncertainty in the minds of children, especially if you tell the child you're going to get a reallocation for them. And then it doesn't happen. It means then that the child has not embraced the results, one. They're hoping that what you said will come through. And then when that doesn't come through, then the child is in a frenzy emotionally. So it is important for children, I would say, and parents to accept the results, let the child go on to the school and do what they have to do and do it in the best way possible. Because if you have a child who is in that kind of emotional frenzy, they can't study properly. And if you know, and it could be disturbing at the very beginning. Therefore, that child will not have a smooth transition.
And they might not truly settle
exactly,
at all.
because it means that, one, if the parent is hoping that they get a reallocation, it means that they have to defer buying uniforms until they get that go-ahead.
Yes,
they
and
can't go to collect.
orientations these days happen pretty quickly.
Correct.
I don't remember orientation happening that quickly. When I was at school. I think orientation usually used to happen like they would bring the first formers in just before the older students came in, but now they're having orientation in the middle of the holiday. Some schools. Some schools do that, but and that's usually probably for, you know, time problem. Yeah, probably for a time in terms of timetabling and scheduling and that kind of thing. Yes.
But I think that usually though, I always think that when it comes to orientation, it's best when it's done during school time.
Okay.
When children are actually in the environment itself with other children and they can live the experience.
All right. Introduce me to young Mr. Slocum here. Let me hear about how he is learning to transition.
Okay, Salim is, he was a first form student of the St. Michael's School. He is now graduated into second form, promoted into second form. Salim, to me, has settled quite well, quite comfortably, a very self-confident young man, and he got into the rhythm of the school culture pretty early. And I will allow him to, you know, speak for himself and share his experience.
So for those ones who are just moving to the place where they just got their results, take me back to how you felt last year when you first heard that you were heading into SMS.
Okay, so when I got back my common entrance results, because I can remember the day as well, if it was the 9th of August, when I was going to get my results back, I was feeling a little bit of nervous and excited because too as well, I knew that I didn't do so. I wanted to know if my composition was going to be great because I knew that it didn't have like so much big words inside of it, but I know it will be specific and reasonable. But two, I also pray to God that I will also get into St. Michael's School. But when I was worrying a bit about my composition, I knew that don't think that negative, think positive, and I know that I would get into St. Michael's School.
All right, so once the results came back, tell me how you felt, and then tell me about how, the people who came with you, the people around you, family and so on, felt about it.
Well, so when I got back my results, me and my mother were very, very excited of me going back into going to St. Michael's School. Also, my grandmother was glad for me going to St. Michael's School. Some of my mother's friends and work colleagues as well were happy for me going into St. Michael's School.
All right, that's wonderful. Now, talk to me about transitioning from primary to secondary school. What was the change like? Was it major for you because now you're with all of these older children? It most certainly is a bigger school to kind of navigate and move around. So what was the transition like for you?
Okay, so when I first went into St. Michael's School, I've seen a lot of changes in the St. Michael's School than when I was in primary school. So, like, our school, St. Michael's School, like every school that is secondary here in Barbados, starts at 8 o'clock. But primary schools, they start at 8:45. So that was a difference that I saw. The difference that I also saw was there were like say
a lot of changes.
Yeah. Oh, the food. The foods, like, you know, like when they have the school meal services at primary school, like say today is Friday. Today, the school meal service may provide hot dogs for the whole school on the Friday. But here at secondary school, what we just do, we have a canteen. So when we go to the canteen, we can buy what we want and purchase, but too is also best that we can also bring our lunch from at home as well.
All right, so even though these might sound like small things to us as adults, to children, they can be major.
Oh, yeah.
So he mentioned two very interesting things, moving from a situation where he was going to school for 8:45 to a situation where he might be going further and having to get there now to start class at 8 o'clock. And then, of course, school meals is something major as well. Being able to navigate that, you know, having money, so you have to have money, you have to manage the money to buy your lunch, you get to decide what you want to eat instead of something being given to you. These are major things, major ways to transition. So let's talk a little bit about those things that children now have to navigate.
Right, and therefore it means now that getting to bed early, because if you have to prepare your own lunch, it means that you have to do some preparation ahead of time. And it might also mean that you have to juggle that with the extra homework that you're going to get, because we always suggest that you're going to get two types of homework, one that the teacher gives you and one that you have to set up for yourself, because with all the amount of work that you have to do, the 13 subjects or 15 subjects that you have to navigate, it means now that different teachers are going to be giving you different homework, and you have to get that homework done. Plus, you have to do a lot more reading. So either reading ahead or reviewing the notes that were done during the day. So it means now that the child now has to look at organization. And organizational skills come into play a lot, because if you're not organized, it means that you can't manage your time properly. And it therefore means that everything might be just cluttered all over the place, mentally as well as physically. So we want to encourage parents to ensure that they have a designated room where or space really, where the students can study. And homework is a must. It is a must. It's not optional. And they must be able to study at home. Parents might have to spend more time now monitoring the homework. And for some parents that could be frustrating, because if you have a child who is not motivated, you now have to push that child. And I call them like pancart children, where they have all the potential, but if you don't push them, they're not moving.
Yeah.
And therefore that could be very, very, very frustrating for some parents. But there are ways to get around it.
Yeah.
And as we have the counselors in the schools, we have the health and family life education programs in the schools, these are there to provide study strategies for the children.
All right. I'm going to leave you with the last word, Mr. Slocum. What advice would you give to students getting ready to come into not only St. Michael's School, but secondary schools across Barbados, based on your experience in getting ready for doing a whole set of new subjects and preparing for meeting new friends and teachers and so on? What advice would you give to young people who just did the 11+?
Okay, so my first advice that I would give to all the children across Barbados are, okay, so when there's like homework, like say, this is not primary school, this is secondary school, because when they get into secondary school, you have a lot of homework, more than what was in primary school. So what I would tell you, that children wouldn't like spend 8 hours on doing all those subjects. I would like to tell them that they can set like a time limit for each homework subject that they have to do as well, and it also helps them to get through the day and also it makes them to be more relaxed, and they can rest for the next day and get up for the morning and
be on time.
Yes.
That's great advice, you know, to set a time limit for the subjects, because you can get caught up with one subject and then all of a sudden you have all these other subjects to go through and you don't get to them. So Mr. Salim Slocum, that is some wonderful advice. I wish you all the best heading into second form. You're now one of the big boys at school. You're no longer one of the youngest at school, so some new students will be coming in. But I'm happy that you've transitioned, and you certainly sound like you are doing well. So congratulations. And again, thank you, Ms. Grant,
Thank you
for sharing with us. Remind us of where we can, the book that that is available for the transition. Yes,
about entering secondary school. This is a survival kit for students with helpful tips for parents, and it is available. You can call me or email me, camptransition@gmail.com, and they can also call me at 265-4598.
All right, wonderful. And it's a wonderful book to be able to guide you through the process and help your students seamlessly transition to secondary school. We're going to take a break here on Morning Barbados and come back with a whole lot more. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? Then Mornin Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. Come and let us turn those pages together.
Because you love English Premier League, MCTV has got it back. Now you can watch all the games of the English Premier League plus UEFA and NFL on MCTV. Current customers can upgrade to Matchback Extra at just $23. Call MCTV today at 228-6288 to upgrade or come in and sign up for a new service. Football fans, let MCTV get you back in the game.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb.
It's time now for the Power of One, brought to you with the compliments of C.O. Williams Construction Limited. And of course, it's an opportunity for them to feature some of their employees who embody everything the company stands for, which is moving the earth to please. This morning, we are so pleased to have with us on set Mr. Amir Cobham, who is Supervisor Contracts Department with C.O. Williams Construction Limited. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Not too bad. A little tired, but
I can understand. Good. All right, so it's wonderful to have you with us, and you're a supervisor in the Contracts Department at C.O. Williams Construction. As I mentioned, talk to me about your journey with the company. How did you first come to be an employee of C.O. Williams?
So back in 2021, I was fortunate enough to have been given an interview for the position of a junior supervisor. So I would say C.O. Williams really took a chance on me, giving me the opportunity to actually come in and see what the role is about and all the learning that it entails. I would have started on the Highway 1 project, when we had the West Coast dug up. But I will say jumping into such a big project, so early on was very eye-opening. As I mentioned, really gave me an opportunity to learn all I could learn as fast as I could, so I could be, better at my job within the company.
All right, so let's step back a little bit.
Right.
Did you ever think, because you also went to SMS,
Yes.
So did you ever think in your secondary school life, because usually that's when we kind of shape up and say, here's where I want to go, this is the profession I want to get into. You know, did you have in your mind, you know, any particular profession that you wanted to get into at that time?
Yes, I could very well remember at St. Michael's School, I always wanted to get into engineering. And then, you know, so life has it, you know, it doesn't always go as planned. And I ended up going to university in Trinidad, not to do civil engineering as I wanted, but geomatics, and that wasn't working out for me. And I ended up, you know, pivoting and switching, doing HR, something that I never really, you know, studied for, and it was, you know, a big eye-opener, a big change for me. But the aspects of engineering and project management were where I always wanted to see myself, and I did a full circle and found my way back into the field.
Wow, so that's very interesting. How were you able to then apply what you'd learned? Because sometimes even if you don't complete a degree, obviously you would have done some of the subjects leading into, so you have a good gauge of what that field is about and what's expected. How were you able to apply all you'd learned in Trinidad, and then when you came out here to Barbados in HR, into this new role as a junior supervisor on this Highway 1 project?
The job itself is very multidimensional. So you have you're in a supervisory capacity where you have elements of managing the same humans, the human resource management. You have project management in the sense, and then obviously the more technical side of things, understanding what's going on the ground and what's not. So it be all these different experiences I had mesh well into the position I was put in.
And here you are, mid-20s, in a supervisory role, I would imagine, with some people who are a little older than you are.
A lot older.
Was that a little intimidating for you?
Yes, especially when I first joined. Obviously, I was a little younger when I first came into the company, and I had a challenging time trying to navigate the older guys, especially, who've been in the company for much longer than I've been alive.
All right, so talk to me about some of these other projects that are now under your belt that you feel confident about, that have helped to build your confidence as well as your experience in this field.
All right, so some of the key projects I would say, you know, really gave me a sense of purpose within C.O. Williams would have been projects like with Ionics Freshwater. We would have done some projects that would have helped, you know, get water to other developments, you know, push water throughout the island. The one I'm currently working on right now is the one with the gas company, where we're just refitting, changing out all the old leaking cast iron mains along the south coast. So there are projects that generally benefit the island in the long run.
When you thought engineering, did you specifically think engineering in the context of construction, or were you just interested in engineering generally?
I was more interested in the civil aspects of it, yes. So at C.O. Williams, that's mainly what we partake in.
And what's the on-the-ground job like as compared to maybe what you had in your head as to what you wanted to do?
A lot more time-consuming. And I would say it calls for a lot of sacrifice and you know, making sure that you're on top of things all the time.
All right, that's excellent. Now, I see that your hobbies also tie in to, you know, what you love to do at work, which is always interesting. I'm always intrigued by people who, when they list their hobbies, it includes some measure of, you know, what they do professionally. So you say you enjoy logistics and project management and working within your community as well. Talk to me about working in your community. What do you do?
So where I live, I try to become involved in any way that I can help. So for example, like being within the capacity that I'm in, if I could help something within the community, like the primary school, if the primary school needs something, and I can go down and lend a helping hand, and I would do that as well. even if it's as simple as offering advice to some of the guys in the neighborhood, you know, just simple stuff like that.
All right, you also like ballroom and Latin dancing. Where did this start?
My grandmother. My grandmother, one day she picked me up when I was younger, said we're going dancing. I said, okay.
When you say younger, how young?
I was probably about, I want to say 10, 11, around there. And loved it, enjoyed it ever since.
Wow.
Grandmother knows best.
I know. So are you a part of any dance group?
Not currently, no. I mean, sometimes I do socials, like do salsa dancing and what's not, but.
Okay, so you're at Hilton a few times a week?
Yeah, on Thursdays when it was back in the day, yeah.
Okay, maybe we need to entice you to come to CUNY community too.
As young as I am, you think I'm an old person on the dance floor, right?
That's wonderful stuff. All right, so talk to me generally about, you know, how you feel about being honored in this way, because this segment really is to share with the world that you are one of these people who really embodies what the company stands for. It's not lost on me that you said it's far more time consuming than you thought. And I know with these types of jobs, it's difficult to say, okay, we're going to set a deadline and this is what's going to happen, because there can be so many things, the challenges that can arise, and it really sets back a lot of the timelines and things like that. So how does it make you feel to know that a company that you said, your words, took a chance on you, is now recognizing you for your level of commitment to the company?
I honestly, it's greatly appreciated. I will say CO Williams is one of those companies that, you know, look out for their employees, make sure that, you know, if you have any issues going on, they always make sure that they assist you in any way they can. So I appreciate the opportunity they have given me and look forward to, you know, many more years working within the company.
All right, so let's broaden your community. You're talking now to young people across the length and breadth of Barbados. Lots of them are on holiday. Lots more just did the 11+ exam and might be heading into secondary school. Others are transitioning out of secondary school, getting ready for tertiary school, or maybe not too sure what they want to do in life. What advice would you offer to young people in terms of career and how they can kind of get a handle on where they're going?
I will say, especially to those going into secondary school or coming out of secondary school, be able to adapt and overcome. Not everything in life will go the way you have it planned out. So make sure that you put it in your mind that I'm going to adapt to any situation that's thrown at me, overcome, and thrive.
All right, good stuff. Well, congratulations for your fantastic work. And, just know that your company appreciates the level of commitment that you bring to the role that you play as contract supervisor. By the way, what does that entail?
A lot of long hours in project management. Yes, so it is when there's a project, all the background works, making sure that all the resources are where they need to be, when they need to be there, making sure that the employees are motivated and willing to do the work, making sure everything is running to time, standards are upkept. It's a lot of tinkering in the background.
But you're up to the time.
Yes, for sure.
You're ready for the challenge. Good
Every
stuff. So congratulations from your company on being one of these employees who really is a model employee in terms of how you approach your work.
Thank you.
Mr. Amir Cobham, Supervisor, Contracts Department, CO Williams Construction. He embodies what the company stands for, which is moving the earth to please. And he shows us what the power of one means, how much one person can influence or impact a society, a community through a company.
From the beautiful shores of the gem of the Caribbean, Barbados, home of the amazing Harrison's Cave, the tantalizing Oystins Bay Garden, our historic garrison, the indigenous road tennis, and the friendliest people in the world. We are 94.7 FM, the ultimate Bajan experience.
We enjoy a game of dominoes and singing karaoke.
I just love cruise.
When you love me just a little bit longer.
You get to relax and have a drink and listen to some nice music.
It's something different. It's spectacular. It's fabulous. You know, it's a different feeling altogether.
I never feel so good in a party yet.
Follow me to Q in the Community this Thursday.
So good in a party yet. You know why? Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Heading up to 2.5 minutes after 7 o'clock. Time now for an update of the news. The time to get additional resources in the region to manage climate change has never been more urgent than now. Chairman of CARICOM, Dominica's President Roosevelt Skerrit, who was in Barbados for a high-level meeting with the COP28 UAE President-designate, says the outcomes of the COP are critical.
We need to cut global emissions by 45% by 2030 and reach net zero by 2050. The political leadership required, however, to deliver at the scale and speed necessary is lagging. Despite the geopolitical challenges being experienced across the globe, we cannot let up on pursuing ambitious climate actions. At the COP28, as a COP28 President-designate, we in the Caribbean will count on your leadership to ensure that COP28 is a COP of action. COP28 must deliver actions that are commensurate with ensuring that we keep 1.5 alive. Our lives and that of our children and the children depend on it.
St. Lucia's Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre, who is CARICOM's minister responsible for sustainable development, says CARICOM agrees that transformation has to come at the conference of parties.
CARICOM supports your call for transformational COP28 of action. It will be transformational, Mr. President, as long as its outcomes are ambitious. For CARICOM, it goes without saying that 1.5 degrees centigrade defines ambition, and in that regard, we expect the following. The outcomes of the global stocktake must provide the political will for a climate action plan guided by the best available science to concentrate all efforts to keep global warming below 1.5 degrees, to foster climate resilience and to protect our countries that are facing increasing losses and damages. Finance will be a critical component of COP28 outcomes, including the GST. CARICOM expects in this regard that the loss and damage fund will be operationalized, capitalized, and its modalities will be fit for purpose to ensure ease of access for our small island and low-lying coastal states.
Barbados Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley spoke to the various funds and how they can help the region's most vulnerable.
That catalytic fund is going to require it being blended. It may be used for first loss guarantees and other innovative instruments. And then the partial foreign exchange guarantee that Professor Passad has been working on with other players globally comes in also to reduce the cost of debt for those countries in the global south. With respect to loss and damage, we can take no more debt. And loss and damage, therefore, really has to be about grant funds. And the question is, who funds it? We accept, obviously, that those countries, the 20% of the world states that caused 80% of the stock of greenhouse gases should be there. But we equally accept that the flow of gases continues. and therefore who are the ones that are contributing to the flow and not just the stock. We believe it obviously to be the oil and gas companies, but they don't operate in a vacuum. They can't operate without access to finance, they can't operate without transport, they can't operate without insurance. And therefore, what I call the FIT companies, the finance, the insurance, and the transport companies need to be brought to the table equally with the oil and gas companies if we are to have a realistic chance of a credible loss and damage fund.
The president-designate of COP28 says all forms of finance must be more available, affordable, and accessible.
MDBs must be adequately capitalized and must provide much more concessional finance to help lower risk and bring more private capital to the table. Other innovative tools to bring down the cost of finance should be considered, explored, and advanced, such as foreign exchange risk guarantees, as well as insurance. And the recipients of climate finance need to be better protected from crushing debt burden through the widespread application of climate-resilient debt clauses. Throughout the run-up to COP28, I will continue to work with stakeholders across the financial community to explore every possible instrument that can help make climate finance more inclusive, more available, more accessible, and more affordable. In fact, I want to make it more catalytic and more scaled.
The Congress of Trade Unions and Staff Associations of Barbados, or CITUSAB, supports the integrity legislation as it relates to parliamentarians and political appointees and boards of state-owned enterprises, but not with family members of senior civil servants being included. Dennis DePisa, the General Secretary, says this was an area the Congress is not in agreement with.
It is, however, difficult to reconcile how the immediate family members of senior public officers are to be held under the scrutiny of the law, whereupon there is no justification for such. It is accepted that senior public officers are to be held to the highest ethical standards of conduct and remain subject to scrutiny, and to be penalized under the law for any proven act of corruption. Mindful of the fact that senior public officers are required to follow directives given by their principals in executing decisions of the Cabinet and the instructions of the appointed minister at the political head of their ministry, it is absolutely important that the government undertakes to pay more attention to enhancing systems of checks and balances.
The CITUSAB head believes the legislation should look at issues of favoritism and nepotism if it wants to clean up all of the infelicities in the system.
Ever conscious of the fact that these are factors that can contribute to acts of corruption in various forms. As it stands in the public service, permanent secretaries, heads of department, remain accountable to the head of the public service and to the scrutiny of the Auditor General. CITUSAB therefore sees no need for the imposition of any additional measures on permanent secretaries, heads of department, and officers of related grades. It is necessary for government to ensure that the workers of the Public Accounts Committee undertakes necessary legal action or invoke disciplinary procedures where there is evidence or reason to believe that an act of corruption or inappropriate behavior has taken place.
That's it for an update of news. Our next newscast is Newsday at 12 noon on TV8, followed by The World at 1 via our radio network of stations. Morning Barbados continues after this. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Affair segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.vb. And together we will travel the world.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
All right, so we had some good music there from Tatiana Clark. Of course, the steel pan reverberates with cultural and, all types of heritage meanings. We love it, and of course, it sounds good. She was playing a wonderful tune there from that pipe and Sadis. Now, Tatiana Clark, Gone Clear was the name of that one you performed, but you also perform with a few groups, I am told. So tell me about your life as a steel panist.
Okay, I play alone, firstly. So that's Tamworth Entertainment. Tamworth stands for part of my name, part of my mom's name. So Tatiana and Maureen, so Tamworth. That's how I started. And I play with CBC Barbados. I am the band leader for that group. It's a predominantly female group. Most of our backline are men, but we try to keep our frontline to showcase women as much as possible. And then I play with the Barbados National Youth Steel Orchestra. I am the band captain for that group as well.
That's beautiful. That's good stuff. So tell me a little bit about how you got into pan. How did you get into playing the steel pan?
So, my dad sent me to learn piano lessons. And I heard the pan playing at the same lessons. And I was like, what is this? Sounds very interesting. And I came home playing steel pan.
Wow.
And he just...
At what age was that?
I was 13.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you think intrigued you about the instrument at that time that you felt like this is where I want to go, this is what I want to play instead of piano?
Because it was different. It was not something that everybody did. It was not something that everybody was interested in. Everybody plays the piano. Like, I feel all children are sent to school or to classes to play the piano, but this was different. It was like, what are the circles? Like, where are the notes? Like,
all right, so I'm told that your son also plays in the Barbados National Youth Steel Orchestra?
Yes, he's 9 years old.
Oh my goodness.
He played at Pandemonium this year in the front line.
So how did you get him into playing piano?
So, play steel pan.
Play steel pan.
So he always used to see me practicing at home, obviously. So he said, he used to come and he used to hit the pan. I said, Tyler, do you want to learn? And he said, I don't know. And he was really shy about it at first. But when I took him, he was really into it, like really into it. So I said, okay, we can keep going.
All right, so you started this business playing pan, a few years ago.
Yeah.
What really, piqued your interest in that area? Because there are people who play for recreational purposes, but you kind of made this more or less a career.
Yeah.
So what was the difference for you?
So I think because I am what they say is that I'm a leader. So because I started plan like from the love of it, I feel like I can do this and show other people something that they cannot do or they will want to learn to do and they'll be interested in it. So the look on people's faces alone is what gave me the drive, like the enjoyment, and then the confusion of what is this instrument that sounds like this.
What's it like working with the Barbados National Youth Steel Orchestra though?
It is pressure. It's a lot. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of hours. It's a lot of determination. It is a lot of time, dedication. But I really enjoy it.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now, today is World Steel Pan Day, and the theme is embracing inclusivity and empowerment, recognizing the steel pan's ability to foster inclusive societies, thriving communities, and a robust creative economy. Its positive impacts on mental health, gender equality, and youth empowerment shine through, and we most certainly see all of those things shining through as we think about steel pan, all you're doing with the National Youth Steel Orchestra, even with your 9-year-old son involved, in terms of inclusivity, having all types of people from across society participating in it as well. And I think there's only one thing left for you to do. Let me put these things aside. I have to get this will be my very first pan lesson, Tatiana.
That's fine.
All right, so let's see.
About 6 just for you.
6 for me. All right, let's see.
Okay.
All right, so
we're going to play a scale.
Okay,
right? So this is C. So we can roll, so we're holding it like this.
Like this?
Yeah, and we can roll. Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's actually really good for a first timer.
Okay.
I must say. Okay, so let me try that.
Okay, you have to step this way so they can
see. Yes! That's awesome. Okay.
Here I go.
So let us try a scale.
Okay.
Or let's try the national anthem.
All right.
Okay.
I'm going to play the anthem on national TV. How about that?
Right?
I didn't see. Oh.
really good.
I'm a steel pan player.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can make the National Youth Steel Orchestra
With
now.
time and effort.
With time?
Determination.
Girl,
yeah.
time going the other direction for me. In terms of the National Youth Steel Orchestra. But talk to me about what playing pan does for you, because you came in and you were a little arms crossed, and I was thinking she's a little nervous. But when you got on this pan, you know, there was a difference in your demeanor, in your face, everything. What does playing pan do for you?
It feels like an escape. It feels like I feel I can do this. From the time I get behind my pan, I literally feel like I am about to make people happy. I'm about to make people see what I can do and you cannot.
Where do you want to see pan go in Barbados? Because I can see this as an escape, you know, a way for a lot more young people, maybe from marginalized communities, to get into music and just express themselves.
So I would like that, for one, if we could possibly get more serious about it, like music in general, like musicians in general. If like the Barbadian community can be more serious about like how serious people take their jobs, be more serious about how people treat and take on what musicians do. It is a lot.
Okay.
There's a lot of practice, it's a lot of consistency. Like without consistency, you will fail.
It's true. And speaking of consistency, how often do you practice in, you know, in honing your craft and getting better at it? Are you at a place now where you can just hear, for example, a web song for the pick of the crop and just play it, or you have to get the scores and stuff like that?
No, because I listen and play, and I've been doing it for a long time, I can listen and play. So I have a very good ear. So once I know the song in my head, I can play it.
All right. So you've now been playing for how many years?
17.
17 years.
Yeah.
Well, you look like 17
That's
years old
great.
yourself. So this is fantastic. It's World Steel Pan Day.
Yep.
And I had my very first lesson on live TV. And I think I got maybe a C.
Yeah, I believe so
start.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad. It's a good thing. All right, so we're going to get a little bit more. So, you know, let's do something. So you play a little something and tell me how I can tune in, and let's go. We're going to do a duet.
Okay. I'm trying to think of a simple song.
Don't go simple. Come on, let's go big. Go big or go home. Come. Your pan says boss lady. I feel like I'm a boss lady
Go big
too.
or go home.
Uh-huh. Not kitsch.
Yeah.
Oh, that was beautiful. Good stuff.
Thank you.
I most certainly won't be playing that anytime soon, but you certainly have intrigued me in a way that I feel like this is something that I maybe can look into doing. So Tatiana Clark, I mean, you have so many accolades behind you, working with the Barbados National Youth Steel Orchestra, working with some other groups, and of course working on your own as well. So congratulations, boss lady.
Thank you. Thank you. Our biggest achievement probably this year was we played for Arya Star when she came to Barbados. We played when she came to the airport. We played in her hotel. We played at her birthday party. It was amazing.
All right. That's good stuff. All right, we're going to take a break and come on back. We have so much more to share with you on this National Steel Pan Day. Absolutely. All right, so we're going to take you. I want you to take us out with a web song. You know a web song?
No.
Well, we're gonna have to change that. You don't go anywhere. Play something then. You know Ayana John song? Yeah, we're gonna have to work on that. You know, collaborations right here. All right, so we're gonna just play something for us. We're gonna take a break and come on back. So stay right here.
Okay.
Yeah? I know that.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist, baker, designer, author, or have done anything you think should be highlighted, email us at morninbarbados@cbc.bb. Let us show the world our exceptional Bajan youth.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? Then Mornin Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. Come and let us turn those pages together.
Because you love English Premier League, MCTV has got it back. Now you can watch all the games of the English Premier League plus UEFA and NFL on MCTV. Current customers can upgrade to Max Pack Extra at just $23. Call MCTV today at 228-6288 to upgrade or come in and sign up for our new service. Football fans, let MCTV get you back in the game.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Oh, so that's your girl Ayana John with something new, a new music video for us. Of course, I recognize the tune, but you know, when you bring a video, it brings something new. So good to see you, Ayana.
Yes, nice to see you again.
All right, of course. I feel like I see you all the time because
Yes.
I kind of stalk Instagram pages.
She stalks me, y'all.
Yeah, I do. You know, so, you know, I see you posting, you do a lot of hotel work
Yes.
and so you're always busy. But let's talk about this new video. It's gorgeous, touching some really great spots across Barbados.
Yes.
Yeah?
Big up to Joe Clody, because Joe Clody and we have collaborated. This is year 7, but on this one, we came together and we said, we're going to do it big. So we took a while to kind of get this video done. We chopped it up. So at first we went and we like drove around Barbados to find, you know, beautiful spots. And then we were like, okay, we're going to narrow it down. And these are the ones that we're going to hit. And I made 4 out of 5 of the outfits. So I just wanted to bring my vision to life. So that was part of the process.
So that's another talent of yours as well?
Yeah, yeah.
You can sew?
Well, I can sew now.
Yeah. But when did that happen?
I started the same hotel work. I wanted us to have something fresh. So I said to myself, well, let's make but simple and very effective clothes, just like as a reflection of us. So I just started to, you know, buy like, you know, prints, patterns, and I said, well, how do I want to present us? And then that kind of started the fire. And then when the video came about, I was like, I'm gonna custom make these outfits.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think it was a good call because they're definitely a reflection of who I am. I'm more on the simplistic side, but I like to have like bright colors and, you know, so there's a balance.
All right. Well, one kind of X's out the other, but we'll see. Simplistic with bright colors.
Yes. Kind of a simplistic cut.
Simplistic with sequins. I mean, they're both S's, so yes. I guess that works. Yeah, so this song, though, you released this song maybe 2 years ago?
This was February 2022.
Yes.
And I said, well, Joe Cloudy, who directed the video, his company is called Dreaming Cloud Films. So I brought a song called Dreaming. So I said, it was meant to be.
Yes.
So let's come together and just create something beautiful. And let's take our time. Because I didn't want to rush it. I said, we have time. So let's take our time. We shot last year, like August. We started August, wrapped up in November.
Wow. That definitely is a long time. But we know in production that usually productions take a while.
Yeah.
To get done.
It takes a lot.
It's only here that we want everything like yesterday.
Yeah.
But usually with productions, they take a while to be able to develop your storyboard, as you mentioned, get your costuming together, do your shooting, and then of course the post-production work is very, very important to the entire production.
Yeah, and I told him when we were finished, I said, you take as long as you need. I said, so it's been a year.
Yeah.
He finished basically what I would call the final edit around April. But then when I came back, I said, you've been picking at this video, right? He said, yeah. And I could see that. He says, every time I think about something new, I want to put it in, I want to put it in, I want to put it in.
Yeah.
So this is really testimony. I mean, myself and Darren Grant, we did this song. And the collaboration with me and Joe Cloudy then kind of put the cherry on top.
Good stuff. Well, let me put things in perspective. If that's the case, maybe you should do a making of the video.
Making of the video, that would be very cool. We have a lot of bloopers.
I can just imagine.
Yeah, like when the waves were crashing, I was like, and I would run onto the beach, and then he would like, well, Ayana, you know we gotta get this shot. So I said, okay, go.
She's afraid of water. That's basically what it is. Yeah. So with your music though, Ayana, I mean, this is reggae. But you do dancehall, you do pop.
Yeah.
I mean, you're an award-winning artist.
Yeah.
You've performed, you know, multiple places.
Yeah.
You know, more recently, you're well known for your Christmas song, I think. You know, I was on 94.7 FM for last year, maybe the 2 years prior to that. So
Yeah.
I've really been delving into the local music
Yeah.
outside of just soca.
Right.
And I know that you have a lot of songs.
Yeah, I
out
mean,
there.
over the years, COVID really kind of brought me back because during COVID, you know, there was no work. So I was overseas and I just went into the basement and I started to play the music that really kind of inspired me. And I had to get back to the heart of me. And I said, the reason why you do this is because of your love for reggae and dancehall. That's that balance, right? And I really started to write and just write songs and more write songs in that vein. So when I started to do a lot of demos, I said, who would be great producers that I could pair with that could really bring this dream to life? So I had worked with Darren Grant before, and I said, I wonder if Darren Grant does reggae. I know him for Tempted to Touch, right? So that's soca. So I said, if I came to him and I asked him to do a reggae song, would he do it? And he said, not a problem. So he was finished that song in a week, you know, and what made me feel so comfortable with him is that he's a musician's musician. He plays bass, keyboards, anything you bring to Darren, he can do. So he would have snapped that up real quick.
Wow, shout out to Darren. I know how he gets down in the studio.
Yeah.
Take us back to, you know, because you really came to, I would say, national attention, because I'd seen you in hip hop circles and you were kind of playing with the R&B and hip hop early on.
Yeah.
But you really came to national attention when you did that remake of Bajan's Story. It was called with Buggy Nakente back in the day. So, you know, compare and contrast where you were then as compared to where you are now performing this particular song.
I think right now I'm a more polished artist. When I started to do that DJing chant style, Buggy really is the one that started that in me. Because when we did Bajan's Story, that was the first time I would have ever done anything like that. So big up to KB Sharp, because KB Sharp kind of took a chance. He said, well, you come, I'm going to pair you with Buggy and then, you know, just come together. I did the beat, y'all handle it. So I remember my first session with Buggy, and he said, all right, say this line. Don't say it like that. Edit it, a bit. So when we got to actually, to record the song, I kind of had a feel, and then over time, then I had to kind of work on it. It's so funny when you get thrown into it, but you don't really have the basic skills. So when I was thrown into it over time, then I was able to kind of polish my sound. So I have a balance of singing and DJing, chanting, rapping, whatever you want to call it. There's a balance. So in this song, there's an actual balance of that. And I think finally, after all these years, I found my sound.
Yes, and I must tell you that I'm a little surprised that you say your sweet spot is reggae music.
Yeah.
Because you have one of these sweet, what we would call sweet singing voices.
Yeah.
And, you know, even though you've made a lot of reggae over the years, for me, I would think that you would go in the direction of R&B.
But you know, somebody told me something really, really, really smart. He said, if you think about reggae and R&B, they're kind of the same thing. Yeah. Like you could probably take a reggae singer and put his voice on an R&B beat, and it probably wouldn't sound out of place. That same melodic, sweet singing. When I think of a Maxi Priest, you know, I mean, is it too far off?
A
Tessan Chin.
Mm-hmm.
Is it too far off?
It really isn't.
Is it just the beat? You know?
All right.
Yeah, they could probably kind of straddle those lines. It's just what you choose as your musical bed, what you choose as your expression, right? And I've always loved it growing up in school. I mean, it's always been a part of me, but I'm so happy that I was able to kind of own it. You know, when you're an artist, there's so many people in your head telling you, no, you should do this because you don't really suit this, or your image doesn't suit this, and you shouldn't really. And then you're like, no. And COVID, even though COVID was a horrific time, it kind of put artists in a place where they had to step back. So I think I was able to step back, and I said, let's start with dreaming and then see how this goes. Right? So I have a 7-track EP coming out with a lot of songs. I just work with Peter Coppin. I'm working with the producer from the UK, Tom Banfield. So we're doing a lot of reggae dancehall tracks. A lot. Actually, all of them are going to be reggae dancehall tracks.
And I know Tom does a lot of work in the reggae field as well.
Oh,
Tom Banfield,
Tom Banfield.
for sure.
Yeah.
And Peter, I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
he's a hit maker.
I mean, you know.
Yeah, where can we find you, Ayana?
Okay, well, you can find me online. I use my main kind of fields are Spotify, Instagram, to a lesser extent, Twitter and Facebook, but IG and Spotify, they're my main.
All Ayana John?
Yeah, all. You
Yeah.
go on and find me. I tell everybody, just go on. I released a track with Peter called Drop Down. That's more of a kind of a dancey, kind of like nice, groovy, dancey, dance hallish track. So when this EP comes out, I think people are going to be really happy at the range, because you'll get your share of ballads and you'll get your share of, you know, happy, groovy music. And I think they're going to see a growth and a determination in me.
All right, good stuff. And I see that every day in you, in what you do.
Yes.
Always good to see you,
Yes.
Ayana.
Thank you.
One of my favorite people in the industry. I think you know that already.
Yes, I do. Thank
so
you.
once you're going to release that EP, then I'm reserving my place where I have to see you sitting on a stool somewhere.
That's right.
Performing these songs, and
That's
I
right.
want to hear all of them.
We might have to take a trip.
Ayana John
Yes.
sharing with us today on Morning Barbados, and of course that brand new music video looking beautiful. I don't know if you were able to pick out a few of these spots. I had to ask her, but she showed me Joe's River. I think that was most noticeable.
Yeah,
But
on
then
the
I wasn't
bridge,
sure
yeah.
of the Archer's Bay.
The Archer's Bay.
And a few other spots.
Yeah.
So, once you go online and check it out, see if you can pick out all of those beautiful places all across Barbados. My girl is channeling mermaid here in this outfit. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Nancy's on the couch. I'm kidding. It is the reigning Pickety Crop Monarch. Yeah, he is here, and he's brought the trophy along. We're showing off this morning. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist, baker, designer, author, or have done anything you think should be highlighted, email us at morninbarbados@cbc.bb. Let us show the world our exceptional Bajan youth.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? Then Mornin Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. Come and let us turn those pages together.
Because you love English Premier League, MCTV has got it back. Now you can watch all the games of the English Premier League plus UEFA and NFL on MCTV. Current customers can upgrade to Maxback Extra at just $23. Call
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Speaking so plain, saying to me is like we don't use we brain. When we get legislation to deal with rights, but nothing for those serving in public like that decision. Sticking out the nation. And if you ignore Chapman Lane, Bonnet's Bibby Lane, and you leave all the crime to Corey Lane, that decision. Is it crime prevention? Cause then we want to know how the youths get so choosing violence, saying them fully does that decision affects the next generation. Tell me, are the neurons inactive? Is there an issue with the synapses? Or is the country just going insane? It's like we don't use we brain. Sing, it's like we don't use we brain. It's like we don't use we brain. Don't use we brain. Don't use we brain. It's like we don't use we brain. It's like we don't use we brain.
Hey, 14 minutes now before 8 o'clock. The reigning Pickety Crop Monarch for 2023, Ian Webster. iWeb is in the house. Good morning. Welcome back to Morning Barbados.
I thought it was a Nancy. Good morning.
I'm getting there, trust me.
Yes, please. Good morning to you. Good morning to Barbados. Yeah.
Talk to me about how the season really shaped out for you, even before the big win last Friday night. You know, how did things go for you?
Yeah, I think I had a pretty good season. I didn't do any part of music this year. Most of my energies were focused into Pickety Crop and singing social commentary. Of course, writing for other people was also a part of that. It was very hectic leading up to the actual season. Of course, again, writing, still having to deal with school and examinations and these types of things. It was a bit of a challenge. I was doing a program at Erdiston as well. So yeah, it was a little bit busy, but you know, eventually we're here now, and we're thankful that at the end of the season we are victorious.
Talk to me about the collaboration, the Water Street Boys. You guys have been enjoying tremendous success, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
You did quite a bit of writing, most notably maybe Terry for this time around, who also made it pretty far in the competition as well.
Right. So this year we wrote for John, Terry, Renan, Charisma, Terencia. We'd have written for Darren Holder as well. We wrote probably at least 10 songs, and these are just the ones that I can remember off the top of my head. But we have been trying to be as consistent as possible, and that has been pretty much the name of our game from day one. Try to be as consistent as possible. Every single year, every single time we sit down to write, to work, you know, just to make sure we put out a quality product each time.
You told me before in a previous interview it's a winning formula with you and Shane. Talk to me a little bit about that dynamic.
Well, a winning formula, it includes Shane and I, but it also includes an entire team of people. We have like Shari Pollard, we have Cicely Spencer Cross, Jennifer Seeley, Zanae Bridgman Maxwell, Keisha Dowrich. That's in terms of like the production side of things. Of course, we have the Red Boys and Roger Gittins, who has been an integral part of our success as far as our arrangements and stuff like that is concerned. We've been working with Roger Gittins from the existence really of Water Street Boys, and I have been working with Roger Gittins since I would have re-entered the Calypso phrase, so to speak. Yeah, so it's not just me. And then, of course, there are sponsors as well that have contributed. People like Pork and Wine, Bar and Restaurant, Arctic Melt, and Trident Productions. You have in there as well, Uniform Factory Outlet. Yeah, and some other people, Ocean Fisheries. You know, Ocean Fisheries came on board. And these are people that, like, people they see the end product, yes, you know, the production and all that, but it really does take a team effort. The Barbados Library Service was also in there. We had Sharon, a lady that works at the psychiatric hospital. She assisted us as well. Ms. Maureen Pollard as well. Kevin Small. You know, these are people that really help to pull this thing together. It's a lot of people and a lot of thought that goes into, let's say, the winning formula.
For sure. You know, it's wonderful that you truly are able to say thank you to all of those people and highlight their efforts, because a lot of people see what happens as the end product, but they don't know how many people have to pour into it for you to get to that place. Now, we often say in Barbados, it's not Cropover without a little controversy. You brought the controversy this year. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't.
I did.
Who knows? You know, a little bit of spice is always nice.
A little bit of spice is always nice.
Yeah, so early on, you know, what were you feeling? Because we got to the place there where we were feeling like, okay, this is, you know, going a place that I'm not sure it wants to go, but I mean, ultimately, look what it has turned into. A trophy so big I have to look around it to see you, you know? Well,
I mean, if life gives you lemons, you know, you make lemonade. That's just how that situation kind of played out. Yeah, and I would have, you know, brought it into my presentation a little bit You know, but it's par for the course. What is Cropover without controversy?
It is true. Yeah. This is your 4th win.
Yeah, it is.
So again, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
What does it mean? What does it mean to win the pick of the crop competition? I know we've grown up on pick of the crop. We've grown up on this title, and you know it holds a really big place in Barbadian society. But as an artist, as an individual, what does it mean to you to now have 4 titles when we know that one of the men who we call the greatest in the art form holds just double that? So that's well within your scope.
Yeah, it's a great feeling because you know you grow up. For example, my experience was growing up and watching Pickety Crop. You know, seeing Gabby, seeing Bike, Serenade, Bumba, out of Niger.
Invader.
Yeah, Invader number 3, Kid Sight. You know, the list goes on. You see these guys, and obviously growing up, Bike was and still is probably one of the biggest things in terms of calypso, and wanting to be like them one day, wanting to be on the same stage, not knowing how it would be possible, and then coming from that place to wanting to be on stage and wanting to sing and wanting to win and have the trophies and the accolades and stuff, to actually realizing it, it is like a dream come true. As you know, we were talking with Ayana earlier, she was talking about dreams, you know. Yeah. But it really is testament to the fact that if you put your mind to something, and I've realized and I've had to accept over time, look, I have a natural gifting in the area of calypso, and you know, your talent, the Bible says, will make room for you. Your gift makes room for you, and I think that's what's happened in my experience, that the gift that I've been given has made an outlet for me.
Absolutely. Now, this performance, I don't know if people will agree, but this performance took me back to your performance of Vote Selling. You know, where you kind of, like one of the songs going into the competition where everybody was watching it, because you know everybody has their opinions.
Yeah, everybody
and they're kind of, you know, voting on it. I'm so surprised that we don't have like big gambling things where people bet money.
Well, people do bet money. They tell me afterwards.
I didn't want to sell it out. Or who's going to win the Pickety Crop competition.
Yeah.
But for Vote Selling, the way you took Taxi and included it in the song, pretty much the same what you did this time around, I think that is one of the unique things you are able to do. Yeah. And that is what really sets your presentation apart from everybody else, because like you called it taking lemons and making lemonade.
Yeah.
You know, but in this instance, you took an Anansi and made a big story, man.
Well, yeah. I mean, I talked to Adrian about the song before he actually released the song. I actually didn't take him too serious because he always does this thing where he goes, man, I don't think I'm doing anything this year, you know. And with Soca Rumble supposedly scheduled for what was the 31st of July.
Yes.
Yeah. And I knew he was working on that. So when he was telling me about this song that he wrote, I was like, okay, cool. And then I one morning I got a message on my phone and I'm hearing this da-na-na, da-na-na, and I'm like, everybody knows that Anansi, you know. And it was when it made me laugh. I remember the first time I heard it, I laughed, and I said to myself, okay, so we're gonna have to see how we can work with this Anansi business, you know. And it came off really, really well. A lot of thought went into the presentation though, and to the entire process. But yeah. You know, the controversy, as you say, did help. It really did.
For sure. You definitely looked in a very pensive mood when you were waiting for that result.
Right.
What was going through your mind?
Well, I'll tell you, hoping for the best. I was tired too. I was really tired, and I actually did not get to sleep. When I woke up the Friday morning of the competition, I didn't get to sleep till the Saturday afternoon the next day, like again. I was a little bit tired. The stress of the competition, it takes a lot out of you.
Yeah. Speaking of taking a lot out of you, are your arms okay? Can you like lift them up? Because
course.
walking around with this trophy here, so
Arms are good.
you know,
Arms are good.
this heavy trophy here, you know, that he's going to be walking around bragging rights for the next year.
Yeah.
The Pick of the Crop winner is in the house on Morning Barbados, people. So congratulations, iWeb.
Thank you very much.
Well deserved. You were the obvious front runner on the night. You did a fantastic job. Congrats.
Thanks so much.
To you and your team.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, we're going to take another break and come back and wrap up today's presentation of Morning Barbados. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
CBC is celebrating 60 years of broadcasting in Barbados. A friend and a helping hand in the community. CBC, connecting Barbadian communities. It's Match Day Live from the 246 with host Damian Best. Your all-access pass to the action happening in the BFA Premier League and beyond. Every last Monday of the month on CBC TV8. Kickoff time, 8:30 p.m. with analysis from our panel and highlights of the top performances. You can weigh in on the discussion via WhatsApp on 228-5562. It's Match Day Live from the 246. Don't you miss it.
My friend, you don't plan to get her? Oh, Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
All right, so the twin island Caribbean nation of Antigua and Barbuda, they're over the moon and truly excited because their greatest adventures in history took flight when Keisha Shahaf and her daughter Anastasia Mears embarked on a space travel journey. That's right, they became Antigua and Barbuda's first astronauts and the first Caribbean mother-daughter duo to go to space. Antigua and Barbuda's Shahaf, who is 46 years old, and her 18-year-old daughter boarded the Galactic 2 space flight from Spaceport America, New Mexico, marking Virgin Galactic's first private astronaut space flight and second commercial space flight, and they were a part of it. So fantastic stuff. How about that? The Caribbean now has astronauts in outer space. I'm loving it. Hey, thank you so much for sharing with us and being here for this week. Remember to head on out to that wonderful presentation of coming up tomorrow. That's right, it's going to be Soca at Cricket Legends. Make sure you come on over and be a part of that presentation as well. So on behalf of the entire team, thank you so much for joining us for this week, and we'll see you again, God willing, on Monday. As you go through your weekend, remember to wear your smiles and come on back to us. Bye-bye.